I'm Biresh Banerjee. Welcome to DW News Asia. Glad you could join us. Chinese President Xi Jinping has told his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden that reunification with Taiwan was unstoppable, but added later that China would not fight a cold or hot war with anyone. The comments came as both leaders met for the first time in a year. Both also agreed to restore military-to-military communications between their countries. Beijing had severed that link last year after then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan. Since then, Beijing has steadily increased military pressure on Taiwan. So the meeting between Xi and Biden in San Francisco on Wednesday came as welcome news for Taipei.
The fact that President Biden once again used the meeting opportunity with the Chinese leader to openly reiterate the U.S. stance in support of the importance of maintaining peace and stability of the free Taiwan Strait means the Foreign Ministry felt affirmed and welcomed. We have never sought to predict whether or when China might attack. The strategy of government is clear, which is to concentrate on boosting defenses, making preparation, and winning international support.
And when it comes to making preparations, Taiwan wants its people and Beijing to know that it's serious. DW's Taiwan correspondent James Chater reports.
To the sound of a military tune, people file in and out of Ximbin Naval Base in southern Taiwan. The Navy has opened its doors to show people how it plans to protect them. They're showing off home-produced military hardware, and this ship is the star of the show, making its public debut. The Yushan is a new amphibious transport vessel, the biggest of its kind Taiwan has ever made. Steelworker Wang Hongjun brought his daughter and nephew to take a look.
I've come to support our national defense as we face threats from China. Taiwan's awareness of the need for self-defense is relatively weak, but if the military often holds events like this, it's a chance for people to become familiar with the Navy, as well as our own national defense.
Media are welcome to take the Navy's message around Taiwan and beyond. Taiwan's defense ministry has invited media to tour the 150-meter-long vessel, which only entered service earlier this year. The aim, to send a message to its people, but also Beijing, that the island democracy is ready for war. It's a goal that's ever more pressing. Chinese military intimidation of Taiwan has soared in recent years, and Taiwan's ships may face this. China's aircraft carrier, the Shandong, which recently transited the Taiwan Strait. It's a ship that dwarfs any in Taiwan's navy. Taiwan's new home-produced gear may look flashy, but the gulf in defense capability with Beijing is vast, and it's widening. That stark imbalance worries many in Taiwan, including Cai Zonglin. He used to be a soldier, but left the army, skeptical it was battle-ready.
Regular units put too much emphasis on duties unrelated to war. I'm worried the army wouldn't be able to fight a war in its current state.
He decided to do what he could to draw attention to his worries. So he walked around Taiwan's mainland, all the way around. The 1,100-kilometer walk took 48 days. It was a one-man warning of the threat posed by Beijing.
Taiwan has always been in a more precarious situation than other countries. For people here to have no concept of national defense is really dangerous.
The government is taking some action to make people feel safer. From next year, Taiwan will extend the conscription period for men from 4 months to 1 year. But a more fundamental message underpins events like this. A reminder to Taiwan's people of the threat that made building warships like this necessary in the first place.
And joining me now for more is Amanda Xiao. She's a senior China analyst with the think tank, the International Crisis Group, and joins me now from Taipei. Ms. Xiao, Xi Jinping told business leaders in the U.S. that China will not fight a cold or hot war with anyone, while also reiterating to President Biden that reunification with Taiwan was unstoppable. Does that mean Taiwan doesn't need to worry about a possible Chinese invasion anymore?
Well, I think that one of the messages that Xi carried with him into this meeting was certainly to try to reassure both Washington and Taipei that an invasion is not planned. It's not in the works for the near future. Now, whether we can credibly believe that is another matter. I think in order to really credibly demonstrate that China does not have the intention to launch a military assault on Taiwan in the near future, what Beijing should be doing is to begin to roll back some of its military activities around Taiwan. So I don't think that necessarily that because Xi Jinping has said it, that the risks over Taiwan have increased, but it has certainly contributed to a more positive and stabilizing environment.
But following this meeting, do you think the US and China are clearer about where both countries stand in relation to Taiwan?
So I think that the fundamental differences that the two sides have for Taiwan remain, and that is unlikely to change anytime soon. The two sides' positions over Taiwan have always had some differences. But, what this meeting has really, I think, created an opportunity for is for both sides to assure each other that there is no intention to overturn the status quo on Taiwan, and neither side seeks a kinetic conflict over the issue.
Taiwan has in recent years reassessed its military strategy to counter China, and the focus is now more on asymmetric warfare. Is it moving fast enough, though, on this to be able to deter any potential Chinese aggression?
Well, under the current administration of Tsai Ing-wen, Taiwan has begun to take some positive steps in the right direction towards an asymmetric defense strategy, as you say, but more can and should be done. Taiwan should be taking bigger and faster steps towards an asymmetric strategy in order to deny a swift Chinese invasion and to really make Taiwan, which is already a mountainous island, into a more defensible fortress, essentially.
Taiwan is also headed to an election next year. What will Taiwan's next leader have to do to reduce cross-strait tensions?
Well, it's an interesting moment in Taiwan's elections. Just yesterday, we saw a big announcement from Taiwan's opposition camp saying that they are willing to cooperate. And so this means that Taiwan's election is now actually a competitive one, and it's unclear who the victor might be come January 2024. But as for reducing tensions, there are a number of steps that the next Taiwanese president can take to help to signal their goodwill towards Beijing and their desire to reduce tensions, including signaling very clearly that Taipei seeks to resume dialogue with Beijing. Dialogue has been frozen since 2016, and also to signal that they are interested in resuming some forms of cross-strait cooperation and exchange. But what's pivotal here is that, a reduction of tensions is not just entirely dependent on Taiwan. It's also very much dependent on what Beijing wants to do as well.
We'll leave it there for the time being. But thanks so much for joining us today, Amanda Shao from the International Crisis Group. Thank you so much.